Hello and welcome to this new video. Today we're going to see how to install a honeypot, specifically the tpot. But what is a honeypot? A honeypot is a system, a resource designed to attract attackers by making them believe they've found a vulnerability to exploit. In reality, the honeypot is a controlled environment that monitors suspicious activities to gather information about attackers, techniques, and tools used by cybercriminals. It is used to improve security within a network, analyze emerging threats, and strengthen defenses against real attacks, allowing you to prevent incidents without compromising actual systems. In fact, it's used, for example, within SOCs, but even in a small business network, it can help you understand what's happening outside. That is, who is trying to attack your network, and no one is truly safe, meaning that any network can be attacked. Obviously, there are some prerequisites which we will look at how to set up. The prerequisite is, for example, that you have a DMZ. That is, you offer services to the outside. Because if you just have a home router and all the router's ports are closed, from the outside in, they can't do anything, unless there are vulnerabilities in the router itself that can be exploited. Honeypot needs to read the data, meaning the attacks. We'll see this later once we've finished configuring Honeypot. So the first thing to do is download Ubuntu. In this case, we'll use Ubuntu Server, which is very simple. Go to the Ubuntu page, click on Products, Ubuntu Server, and download it. And that's it. Once you've downloaded Ubuntu Server, let's go to our VMware workstation, which I remind you is free. Let's create a new machine. Just follow along and click Next. Here I already have the Ubuntu server file ready, which is the ISO image that I downloaded earlier, and we simply click Next again. Now let's give it a name. I'll call it tpot, and I need to install it on another drive, but just a moment while I set that up. VMs, and then we create a folder that we'll call tpot, just a made-up name, tpot, and go. Click OK. Next. Here, set the disk to 200 gigabytes at least, because I think the recommended is 160, so 200 is fine. Then customize hardware. Here we give it 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is the minimum. But 16 is recommended. Anyway, it works with 8. Then 4 processors. And for the network adapter, set it to bridge, so I have the IP address of my internal network. Done. At this point, when it creates the machine, it will start it up and we can proceed with the installation. The installation is very simple. I'll show it to you now, but if you want, you can skip it, because honestly, the installation basically does everything by itself. There really isn't much you need to do. Now, while the honeypot is installing, let's take a quick look at this honeypot, the tpot, and then I'll show you it has different types of emulations. For example, Cisco Firewall, FTP, SMB, Microsoft SQL, and so on. So we can really have fun exploring different types of research and specific types of attacks. There's also the CVE, but by default, it's not configured. And I won't be configuring it in this video because this video is only about the installation. Of course, there's the tpot documentation where you can find all the information you need for the various configurations you might require. Let's continue then. Name CrazyNet. CrazyNet. Your server is tpot, which here needs to be written in lowercase. Username CrazyNet. Admin 123, admin 123. Obviously, I'm using the password admin 123, but as I always tell you, passwords should be complex. Install OpenSSH and go. Here, we leave everything as is. The installation is basically finished, so at this point, when it restarts, it will then give us access. We will use PATI, which I'm already preparing because obviously that's what we'll need to do. 0.139, the server's IP address. Let's wait. Go ahead. Now it's restarting and we'll connect with our terminal. I'll also show you something else because, as we all know, the SSH port is 22, but we need to change it. I mean, in the end, it tells us which port to use. All right? We can put this away because we basically don't need it anymore. And let's connect with our telnet. Sorry, I meant our SSH, not telnet. So let's open up CrazyNet for a moment. Then admin 123, and now we need to enter the commands. So first of all, we need to update the operating system, even though it was just downloaded, with this command. Press enter, admin 123, and let's run the update. Then we need to install some dependencies. Next, let's install the dependencies. Let's go ahead and disable the firewall. So then let's go ahead and disable AppArmor, just in case it's currently enabled on your system. Here it is, as you can see. And finally, after all of this, we're going to proceed to install tpot. And here it is. Wow. Then once it has been fully installed, once the installation file has been completely downloaded to your computer, we're going to proceed to install it. Now, the command that you need to enter should be typed in without using administrator privileges, so just make sure you do not run it as an administrator. /install, here we tell it to install, yes. Then it will ask us a few questions, but they're very simple things like the password. Something pretty standard, just a little bit more. And it will also ask us for the type of installation. Now, I'll show you as soon as the menu appears because it asks if you want the standard, the full, and so on, or the mini. I go for the standard installation, but of course, if you want to try the full version, you can try the full version. The full version includes more monitoring tools, deployment tools, and so on. But basically for, let's say, the majority of environments, the standard is fine. That once it has finished, now it should tell us, oh, I almost forgot. Now you'll see that an error appears. This is about the hardware clock, the system clock, but you can just ignore it. It doesn't affect the functioning of the honeypot. You can even install this on a Raspberry Pi if you want, maybe because you want to dedicate a machine to it or you don't want to take up space on your server. There can be many different reasons, and you can also run it on a Raspberry Pi. The important thing is that it has at least 8 gigabytes of RAM and at least 200 gigabytes of space. Otherwise, it won't work for you. Or at the very least, it might give you some minor issues. Come on, it's almost done. Here it is, see? It asks you what type of installation you want to do, and I select H, which is the standard one. H. Enter your web user. In this case, it's CrazyNet. Yes, the password admin123, admin123. Do you want to use an insecure password? Yes. Now this pooling process starts as well, so it's downloading other files, in this case, the various components. In the meantime, I open another console for Patty because, as I mentioned earlier, we'll need to access it through another port. Once it's finished, it tells us here to access. See? Please reboot and reconnect via SSH with port 64,295, and I'm going to copy that over here to this new terminal. Here I type reboot, sudo reboot. Now it's restarting more than this one, and we have this other one. Now I'm opening this one just in case there are any problems or unexpected issues, but there shouldn't be because it should already work by default. Anyway, let's take a look now. The server has restarted, okay? Here we click to confirm and accept, and here it is. So let's open our browser, in this case Firefox. And copy the server address, which in my case is 1.2.0.1.0.1, and I press enter. And here's the pot. All right, let's take a look for a moment. As I mentioned earlier, there are some prerequisites to consider, so let's take a look at them. Let's open my routers page. Just a moment, please. Let me check. Here it is. Which I'm going to open the DMZ, that is, I'm going to expose my public address on the internet as if there were services running. So DMZ enable, the IP is correct, in this case 139 because it's my machine. Let's put this aside, and here's our tpot. So let's take a look at the attack map together. Let's see right away, without any delay, if it shows us anything interesting or noteworthy. Here is the map, the visual representation of the attacks that we're currently receiving and observing on our own tpot honeypot system. And here, obviously, you don't see any services at the moment because we just installed it. And the server and services all need to start up. It needs to load, so it's not exactly immediate. Then still here on the main menu, let's go to Kibana, which is the nicest of all. And here our super console appears. Recommended configuration. Okay. So then here, what exactly does it say in this section? Enable security, but we're not enabling anything. We leave everything unsecured. Now it's loading all the various sensors, which at the moment, as you can see, there's basically nothing. There's something here. See here, there's an attack from Poland, but for now there's still nothing. It needs to load. It needs to start plotting. Refresh every 60 seconds. Go. Perfect. Let's give it some time, and you'll see that it will slowly, gradually, and steadily start drawing the map bit by bit. For now, I'll disappear from the screen and leave you with the video, which is being recorded in real time, so I can speed it up later for you to watch more conveniently. That way you don't have to sit there and wait for absolutely nothing to happen, but instead you'll see that it starts here. See, 2 attacks, then there will be a lot of attacks, really a lot, a significant number. Then this C is already my target, so this is me, and you can see I'm receiving an attack from this one here. What is this? The United States. From this other place here, what is this? Bulgaria. This one is from Poland. Down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see the types of attacks they've tried. FTP, SSH, Telnet, email, SQL, DNS, and here. Of course, you can see the country, the originating IP address, and the type of service. In this case, SMB, which stands for Server Message Block. As you watch, notice how the attacks increase in frequency and variety, and how the map visualization updates to reflect the ongoing activity. This process gives you a clear visual representation of the cyber threats targeting this system in real time, making it easier to understand the scale and nature of the attacks. And you'll see that it slowly starts recording everything. Now I'm going to disappear. Okay, I'm back. So let's take a look for a moment. Let me show you another example. If, for instance, I go here to Porta Attacca and connect to my own IP address, obviously I can't attack my own IP from my own IP, but there are other ways. If I do a scan now, at some point here, you should see some little lines. which are me trying to connect to my own IP address. It's not immediate, you see? Look, that's basically me checking the ports. For example, I can do this check and you'll see that now another little icon appears, all from Germany. Ah, yes, it's in German. And here it is. Then, if I go back to my Kibana dashboard, you'll gradually see that it starts plotting all the graphs. Here there are different graphs: attack source, IP, reputation, then attacks on the honeypot. This here is OS distribution, so what type of operating system is being used to attack me. The countries: Germany, India, United Kingdom, Bulgaria, Poland, United States, and here again the states but with the corresponding ports they tried. Suricata, the alerts, so the various graphs. Here, nothing has been plotted yet because this is where the most commonly used usernames and passwords to attack me will be shown, basically. And here on the left, you find all the providers. Microsoft, for example, MEVSpace. These are providers in short, and the various most public addresses. The CV, as I told you before, hasn't been configured, so you can't see if they're trying any vulnerabilities. But as time goes by, so as the minutes pass, you'll see these numbers increase, so the attacks increase. And here it will also start giving us more information. See, here it showed up for a moment, but this, where does it come from? It comes from what's here, Taiwan. From Taiwan, they're trying to attack me. But why from Taiwan? What did I do? They're trying to attack me even from Taiwan. And anyway, I've only opened my DMZ a few minutes ago. If you open it, there must be some reasons. But in any case, you have to protect it somehow because otherwise, as you can see, they'll attack it. But it's not that they're specifically targeting me. There are scanners on the internet running 24/7 precisely to look for vulnerabilities. Now, in theory, that is, in theory, the law prohibits scanning public IP addresses. But if you try to scan a company's public IP address, it's not like they'll take you to court just because you did a scan. Yes, it's true that it's forbidden, but honestly, it would cost more to pursue it. To drag some poor guy into court just to say, you scanned my IP? Yeah, but in the end, what did he actually do? So it may be legally forbidden, but technically it's kind of tolerated. For example, here you see superadmin, vadmin, root, and then various passwords. They try these passwords here, which come from lists, as you well know, endless dictionary lists. And so they try, this is how you install tpot, how tpot works, and here it is. So if you have a company or a small SOC and you want to monitor what's happening when you use your internet connection, I have to say with great satisfaction that tpot works really well. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video and found it useful. And of course, see you in the next video.